Picture this, it's 3 a.m. and you're wide awake again. Tomorrow's meeting is running through your head and you're not really worried about being tired right now, but you're worried about missing something important the next day. And you can't let that happen again. But the more you try to make sure that it doesn't happen again, the more your brain decides to have this strategy meeting at 3 a.m. in the morning. You've already tried all the usual advice. No screens, no alcohol, the perfect wind down routine, supplements, maybe even sleeping pills. But sleep isn't impressed by effort. You can't force your way into sleep. If that worked, then you'd be sleeping well all the time and you wouldn't have this problem. And it's not that you're doing it wrong, it's just that you're starting at the surface when you should be working at the foundation. Sleep is really a hierarchy. Most people optimize first. So they do all of these surface level things to optimize their sleep. But optimization only works when the foundation is really solid. And here's what actually works. This is what I call the sleep reset blueprint. It's the same framework that I use with all of my private sleep coaching clients to help them rebuild their sleep from the ground up. We're actually addressing the underlying problem of your sleep. Because if you don't do that, then it doesn't matter how many more things you add, it won't work. So level one or layer one is really understanding and assessing yourself. You need to understand what your habits, behaviors are, your beliefs about sleep and how they shape your actions and how all of these things are influencing your sleep. This is the most crucial part. Because if we don't do this properly, if you don't understand what is really causing your sleep problems, then any of the other layers will not do anything, or they will maybe fix things in the short term, but then the sleep problem comes back. So I want you to really focus on this first part. And I do have a sleep assessment toolkit that's completely free in the description below. So feel free to download that and go through that in your own time. So once we have done that, once we truly understand what is driving your individual sleep problem, because it's going to be slightly different for everyone, we're going to look at the beliefs that are actually shaping the actions and behaviors every day that are leading to poor sleep. For example, that sentence, I can't let this happen again. That's a lot of pressure. That's a belief that is now going to activate your nervous system and it will make it really, really difficult for you to fall back asleep again. So we need to look at your thoughts and beliefs that are actually shaping your sleep problem. Because sleep isn't something that you force by having better habits or a better routine. It's actually something that you need to stop interfering with. And that's a completely natural process that we need to support by aligning your natural body rhythms. And your behaviors are going to shape that every single day. So then when we get to layer 3, we're going to look at those daily rhythms, your circadian rhythm, which is essentially your internal body clock. You don't need any rigid rules for that. You don't need to get up and go to bed at exactly the same time every day to achieve this, but you just need to have a general rhythm. You need to have anchors. You need to have morning light, sunlight in your day, and a relatively consistent wake time. And we're going to build flexibility into this because you will be traveling, you will have an unpredictable schedule. So this is going to be built for real life. It's not a monk retreat in the mountains somewhere where you can control what time you get up and what time you go to sleep, but it's about finding the ideal schedule for you and then being as consistent as you can about 80% of the time, and also giving you the tools to recover from bad nights or from jet lag so that you can rebalance and recalibrate your internal body clock. On level 4, this is where the nervous system comes in. This is typically where the meditation apps come in and the relaxation techniques. They are all addressing the nervous system and trying to calm down and regulate your nervous system, which is really, really important in order to sleep well. But again, if you're not addressing the foundations, your foundational beliefs and behaviors and actions and your natural body rhythm, then some of those techniques might work in the moment, but they're not really addressing the underlying problem of your specific sleep issue. And when you get into bed, it's the first time that you have a quiet moment. So, of course, your brain starts to turn on, it gets loud. And what you really want to introduce here is actually giving your brain more space to think and process during the day, adding in small daily habits so that when you go to bed, you don't have to deal with all of this stress and having to cope with it in the moment. You don't need to add all these techniques because you have already taken care of that during the day. And then on level 5, this is where we get into optimization, those lifestyle habits that people talk about all the time. So things like caffeine intake and alcohol and using technology and screens and how cold or warm your bedroom is. All of these, again, can optimize your sleep. They can help you, but they're never going to address an underlying sleep problem that you've had for a long time. They're only ever going to touch the surface. So you have to take a step back and forget about all of these lifestyle hacks and habits and routines and start on level 1 first. Look at the foundation. Look at what is actually causing your sleep problem. And then once we have built this really good foundation, once we have gotten to a stage where you're sleeping well consistently, you might still have some bad nights here and there, but you have generally figured out a really good schedule for yourself, and you have found a way to manage the unpredictable schedules and all of the responsibilities that you have, then we get to the final layer of the pyramid, which is really about future success and sustainability. So this is not about being perfect and now your sleep is going to be great every single night and you're going to sleep for 8 hours. You have the greatest sleep ever. No, that is not normal. That's not human. All of us have bad nights. People who sleep really well, generally, who don't have insomnia or any other issues, they still have bad nights. They just don't think about it. I do too. I've had some bad nights recently. I've been traveling a lot to the US, coming back to the UK, lots of jet lag. And you know what? I've recovered from it because I knew what I needed to do in order to get there. And I had the confidence that my body would be able to recover. So I was able to cope with temporary sleep loss and sleep debt because I knew how to get back. I still scroll on my phone at night right before I go to sleep, and it's not ideal, and I know that, but I still go out and have a drink or two. And the difference here is that I don't start panicking and thinking, oh my God, my sleep is going to be wrecked now for tonight. I know how to recover from this. And that's really what makes sleep reliable. And that's what I do when I work with my clients. I help them achieve that state where they no longer really think about sleep that much. It just becomes something that is completely natural. And when they have issues, they know how to deal with it. They have the knowledge, the confidence, the belief that their body is able to bounce back and that they can handle a few sleepless nights. And once you go through all of these steps, you are able to be present again in your life. You're not constantly thinking, am I going to be able to focus in that 3 p.m. meeting? You're not just relying on caffeine to get through the day or napping randomly. You start to trust your body again and you stop managing your sleep like it's some kind of project, something that you need to fix and optimize. It's just something that happens to you completely naturally with the right kind of behaviors that you've put in place that are consistent and consistently giving you the same results. If this sounds like something that you want to achieve this year, and if you're tired of treating sleep like another performance metric and you keep trying harder and harder and you're just not getting the results, and you want a real system that actually works with your life and your schedule, then feel free to book a free consultation below in the description. We'll look at your current situation. We'll see if this is the right fit for you. There's no pressure, just clarity for you to understand if this is the right approach for you at this stage of your life. And again, I want to highlight, you don't need perfect sleep. You just need reliable sleep. You need confidence that you are able to sleep. And that is possible. It's possible for anyone. I've worked with a client who has been having problems since his teenage years, and he's now in his 40s and he's able to sleep well again. He's sleeping 7, 8 hours a night consistently, and he feels so much happier, more present, more productive, and he's finally able to enjoy life again. And trust me when I say this, it is possible for you.